I'm Leigh Swigart, Director of Programs in International Justice and Society at Brandeis's International Center for Ethics, Justice, and Public Life. I vote because in doing so, I not only choose my elected officials, but also show support for our country's democratic institutions. In the 1980s, I was living in an African country where I observed firsthand what happens when those in power steal an election. The incumbent president was falling in popularity while the opposition candidate was wildly approved by the populace. But when election results came out, the incumbent had somehow won by a large margin. People reacted. They went out in the streets to demonstrate, sometimes destroying state property in the process. The government called on the police and the gendarmerie to quell the protests. Tear gas was used on demonstrators and tanks rolled through the streets. A state of emergency was declared and curfew was imposed, lasting for weeks. The opposition candidate, whom many believed had been duly elected, fled the country. For the first time in my life, I wonder if we may not have a free, fair, and unobstructed presidential election in the United States. Our country may go the path of those in other parts of the world that regularly need outside observers to legitimate the election results in the eyes of the international community. So we all need to vote in November to show the powers that be that we are not apathetic about the fate of our nation and that we take our civic responsibility seriously. And we need to vote in such large numbers that the results would be hard to challenge or overturn. So please register to vote if you are eligible. If you're planning to vote by absentee ballot, make the request with plenty of time to make sure you receive your ballot via the mail and can return it by the deadline. Support our democratic institutions by exercising your right to cast a ballot. It should be seen as a privilege, not a burden.